Hi guys, Jangro here, and welcome back to my Valhelsia Enhanced Vanilla Hardcore world. We are going to continue with Create in this episode. We're going to deal with a shortage of rotational power, stress units, things we need to run our machines. So stick around. Before we get started on that, you can see here, I've been doing some cleanup. I'm getting a little tired, honestly, of all this grass growing constantly and running around and breaking it and then ending up with a full inventory. So I built a big, ugly platform, and we're going to expand our Create system over here onto this. Then we'll clean it up, make it less ugly, build some walls, turn it into maybe a big warehouse or something. The other thing that I'm working on and thinking about is making a giant tree base. I mean, I realize a lot of people do that. I thought I'd give it a shot. I've never done something like that before. So I kind of just roughed out this base with some roots sticking out and started on a floor in there. I can imagine that getting like, this tall, just a big, huge, something that rivals that hill over there. So that's kind of where we're headed. Now that we've got all the wood in the world, thanks to that tree farm, we'll be able to do that. Okay, so where are we headed next with Create? There's a bunch of stuff I want to do. I can see doing a whole bunch of different episodes. You can see I cleaned up the item pipe race here. One of the things I want to do pretty soon is to show a Create sorting system. And that uses mechanical arms. Those are things that we cannot get yet because there's a process to build those. I also want to automate some food generation with Farmer's Delight. Before we get too far into making machines, I want to get ahead of our rotational force situation. We've got 8 water wheels here with 320 stress units each. That seems like a lot, 2,000 something stress units, but it won't take very long, especially when we're processing at high speeds, for the machines to just use that all up. Let's get ahead of that and let's build one of two things. There's 2 ways to generate a ton of rotational force in Create. One way is with windmills, and you get a windmill bearing and windmill sails, and a maximum windmill is going to generate, I think, 16,000 stress units. We can also generate 16,000 stress units or more with a flywheel and furnace engine. You can see I have them here, but let's make some new ones just so we see how that works. And so we'll just quickly set that up over here. To make a flywheel, we need to set up mechanical crafting in this pattern. So let's just go ahead and do that. So we need a bunch of brass ingots, and we need to set up these mechanical crafters over here. This is going to be kind of temporary, so we'll just kind of tuck it in over here. There we go. It just needs to connect to a cogwheel somewhere in the setup. So it was this square with a hole in the middle and one on the outside. So now we need to make these arrows all point so that they flow out of the crafter. Let's have a flow out of this end right here. So we just need to have everything pointing so things eventually flow. These will flow over here and out, and this will flow out here. We needed brass and a brass casing, which we have right here. Let's tuck those away. So this brass casing goes here, and then what was that about? If I just put that there, oh, it's because there's nothing pointing into there. There we go. Can I put that there now? Yes, okay. It's because that block was all by itself and it didn't have anything to craft, it just spit it out. If you put a broken recipe in, it'll just spit things out. So as I put this last one in, you're going to see everything move. It's going to go pretty fast because we've got some pretty high speed going. And there's our flywheel. Now the furnace engine is a 3x3 solid center, and we need a piston and some brass plates. I think we need 5. Let's just make another bunch. And we need, in the meantime, a piston, either a piston or a sticky piston. That should be enough brass plates. And this needs to go into the middle. So things are still moving all toward here, and it's going to pop out there. So we had a 2 brass piston, brass casing, and 5 plates around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we get the pattern right, it'll work. And there we go. We have our furnace engine. All right. So what we're going to do is kind of set it up over here so we can siphon logs that come out on this belt. And so we're going to we need a little bit of room to work out the funnels and belts that move things around for us. So let's just let's take a guess and build our furnace right over here. So we need a furnace, flywheel, and the furnace engine. The furnace engine goes right on top of the furnace, but I want it facing this direction. And the flywheel, now we can put the flywheel down anywhere and it'll seem like it's working. Like for example, if we stick it here, I don't know, it looks good, right? But that's no good, that won't work. We need to place the flywheel 2 blocks away from this end. You can see the interface right here. We place it right here. And we know we put it in the right spot when we get these pistons connecting right there. So now as we burn something, we'll burn some logs in our furnace. It creates 16,000 stress units, which is great. That's a ton of stress units. And we can put another one down here if we want to and just kind of repeat this and connect them together, and they'll just generate a ton of stress units. So we can repeat this whole thing right off this direction. Now, problem is this fills up with charcoal, the logs disappear, charcoal disappears, so we need to keep feeding this thing. And you can see how fast the logs burn, right? So this stack of logs is not going to last very long. So we need to set up some automation, and we have, thankfully, a tree farm right here. So what we need to do is siphon trees coming off this belt, get them into this furnace. So let's grab some hoppers. We need a hopper on the top, which feeds the logs in. So we need to get logs from here up into that hopper. And we also need to get charcoal out of here and then back in again. So given our orientation and our room, I think I'm going to put the input in the front of that furnace. So let's focus first on getting the logs into that hopper. So if we grab some barrels and we put a barrel up here, this is going to be our input buffer. And if we grab some funnels, I think we just want a regular andesite funnel for this end. And if we put a funnel right there, now we just need to get belt running up here. We put a shaft right here. Did we just make this thing too close? Let's do this. Put that belt there. It goes 1, 2, up, 1, 2. And we'll put this here, and the belt will go like this. 1, 2. Now we just need this thing up. We need this thing to be up one higher. Let's use chutes. One here, and one here. That could just drop everything straight in. But I think we want to have a buffer here. And if we put there with a funnel, now things will go up into that. We can even put windows on these chutes. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing turning. Got a gearbox here. And it's turning the right way. Excellent. Now there's a few things we can do to extract just the logs from the belt. And we need to do this in a way that once that chest fills up, if the logs gets ahead of it, the rest of the logs will just continue down the belt. And we can do that with a, let's see, a brass tunnel. And the brass tunnels are pretty neat because we can stick a tunnel right here, and it puts inputs and outputs wherever there's belts. And you configure it up here. You can tell it, to split, round robin, do all sorts of stuff. What we want to make sure that only logs go into this side right here. And I've got this attribute filter here. And so we need to add a reference item to work with. And so we'll get a log and put it in here. And now because it's a log, we can use these tags. And I think we want things, this seems like a reasonable tag, is tagged Minecraft logs that burn. So I guess maybe there are some logs that don't burn. So we don't want those. So and we use this one and we click the plus to add the attribute to the list. And this tag right here gets 1 on it. That's all we need. So we'll click that check mark and we'll put that filter right on here. And now, when logs come out, it should, based on what we have this set to, we split them. So I just saw some logs go up there. Those came out before. We'll leave the walnut logs there. And let's just watch. I think I heard it break a tree, so we should get some logs. And the logs went up the belt and the rest of the stuff went straight through. That's what we want. But what we really want is for some of the logs to go straight. Well, hello there, Mr. Drowned. We got a phantom membrane stuck in this chute. That's no good. So there's a reason right there to not use andesite funnels. Okay, so here's what I think is going to happen. Because there's a filter here and no filter here, it's going to pull all the wood out. But when this fills up and this belt backs up, then the wood will not come out this side and it'll push out that end and go into our applied Energistics storage, which is exactly what we want. All right, so we've got the first step done. The wood is coming out of the tree farm, going up in here, down into the furnace, where it is smelting and filling up with charcoal. However, we've got a problem here. The charcoal's filled, which shuts the furnace off. So we need to always be pulling the charcoal out. And we also want to put it back into our furnace. So let's dig under here, because in order to pull the charcoal out, whoops, we're going to need to get underneath here. So what we need to do is get a chute below that's going to pull things out. And we'll put that chute on last, otherwise all that coal is going to come dumping out. Let's sleep. So we need our shafts, and we're going to put one here. And we're going to want it to come up to the same level as this belt, because we want to have overflow. So again, once the coal backs up going in to that hopper, we don't want it to just clog, which will cause the furnace to fill up with coal and stop working. So we want to always have a place for the charcoal to go, even when it's filled up. And this hopper becomes filled up. But to help that along, let's put a barrel here. And on that, a funnel. And we need it to go in, but the belt will take care of that. We need some building blocks here just so I can put these shafts down. Okay, so there's going to be a belt coming this way. That's not going to work. Let's get this input side after. Let's get the output working here. So this is going to be a belt coming up. Oh, I guess we wanted that same belt. So this goes up here. And then we want some of the items to come out this way and go over to this belt. And some of the items are going to reroute backwards and up into this barrel right here. So put the funnel like this, pointing in. Oops. So we need a shaft here. And if we have this come out this way a little bit, give us a little bit of room. Okay. And put that here. So all the items, that hopper shouldn't get in the way. But we'll put a chute that'll drop the things onto this belt. Now this is going to be turning this way. And now we want it to turn this way. And over here. Like that. So we connect those. So now the things will come up and out, and overflow will go onto that belt. And now we need a belt going back. So we put a belt this way. This one's going to be going the opposite direction. And we'll do that with a gear shift. So if we get a gear shift, which we have right here. And we know that this is going to be turning that way, so this gear shift will turn things the opposite direction. So we'll just put a belt here, and that'll turn this belt that direction. Okay. Let's get this turning. We need gearboxes. So we've got some gearboxes here. If we put this gearbox, will it turn this in the right direction? Yes, it does. That's the direction we want that to go in. Now if we put a gearbox here, what will it do? We need more shafts. No, that turns that in the wrong direction. So then what we need is the gearbox right here. That's not where we wanted that. If we put the gear shift here, extend this one more. Now we power this. There. That's that going in the right direction. And we just need to connect this one here. Okay, so now this belt is coming out from down here. We just need to put one more belt here. Lots of belts. And now we put a chute here. Things will come up here, come out here, and onto the belt to exit. Some of the things, though, we want to get over onto that belt, going back in to that chest right there. That's going to fill coal. And we need a couple more brass tunnels for that. So put one here and here. And now when you have two tunnels stuck together, they connect and they work in unison with each other. So now if we configure this, it's configured when multiple outputs are available, split. And we've got two outputs available. There's this one and this one. So let's just put the chute on here and watch it work. Just kind of get it tucked down in here. So you can see some of the things went off that direction and some of the things went back into the furnace, which is perfect. So that one, this coal went out this way. Next one should go this way. They're going to come out one at a time now because the furnace is just operating. There it goes. So we've got coal coming back in. This here is going to fill up eventually if we're staying ahead of it. And at that point, everything, all the overflow will head out into our applied Energistics system. And there we go. Some ways we can improve this are putting brass funnels with filters here and here to make sure only coal goes in, because if something falls in, like phantom membrane or zombie flesh, that will gum up our system. Likewise, if something falls on this belt that doesn't burn or smelt, it's gonna clog up the system. Pretty cool. So just to recap, we've got the output of the tree farm coming into this chest. Everything's coming out of this funnel, going into this brass tunnel. The brass tunnel first will send all wood logs up here to go into this funnel, into this barrel. You can see it's collecting some walnut logs. And those will empty down through these two chutes into the furnace. When the furnace outputs one piece of coal, charcoal in this case, it comes up this belt through this tunnel, and the tunnel will divide it either out here or out here. We could probably put a filter on here that gives it preference to always send the coal here first, but I think this is fine. We're getting coal created faster than we're burning logs, so it'll keep ahead. Back over here, everything other than logs comes out this end and heads on down into our sorting system like always. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Off camera, I made a few improvements. It's kind of how it goes with these create machines is, you puzzle together everything, and sometimes you watch YouTubers and they just kind of know where to put everything and they put blocks down and everything goes in the right direction. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of watch me puzzle through this a little bit. I added these cogs. I swapped the gear shift out for these three cogs. You can use cogs to change the direction of rotation. So this one on the right is turning clockwise, the next one is counterclockwise, the next one is clockwise, and I can use those rotational directions to get these belts going in the right direction, and saved, that redstone gear shift. And I also put a brass funnel on this barrel right here, and which will keep anything but coal from going in. However, that means if anything falls in this belt, it's just going to get stuck there and gum things up too. So there's still some more work to do there to make this system a little more bulletproof. But anyway, in the end, we've got this 16,000 SUs furnace and flywheel that we're going to route over here to our platform and do create stuff on. And that's going to be in upcoming episodes. So I think that is going to do it. We've got our fully self-sustaining rotational force generator with the tree farm. If you like the video, please like the video and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And subscribe to the channel if you will. That helps out a lot. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.